as I smile in the beginning of this video, I realized I'm always smiling. No, seriously, I smile a lot. That's like my normal state. I'm grateful that my face rests there. Before Christ, my face used to rest here. Constant annoyed look. So I'm grateful for that. Anyway, that has nothing to do with today's video. Today's video is simple. Let's see if I don't go on and on and on and on and on, because you know Val talks a lot. I was listening to a talk this morning. Won't get into the details, but basically we are living in a time where the general public is very misinformed, uninformed, ignorant about history, ignorant about the effects certain policy changes have, like the war on drugs, the war on gun control, and all these things, even sexual education in schools. And people think that some things are good, but they actually aren't, based on the statistics. Not talking politics or what side you align yourself with, whatever. Literally results. Do X, get Y. Do X, get Y. And it's like, if the results aren't there, then that means, or if it sends it in the opposite direction of what you intended, then that means it doesn't work. Then that means we need to get back to square one and think for ourselves. Back to square one and like reevaluate and say, hey, if this isn't working, we need to make a shift. Anyway, say all that to say, through the talk, all of a sudden, it hit me. It's like, I have decided that no way in HELL will I be sending my kids to public school. And frankly, most private schools for that matter, like, you'll really have to wow me. But from what I remember about what I was taught and all the literal brainwashing I had to unwash as I became an adult, and now it's only worse, but basically that really psycho, hyper leftist agenda, socialist agenda, which is not aligned with the Democratic Party at all. Democrats, for the longest, used to mostly fall in the center, which is not necessarily a bad place to be, you know? Center is like, I hear you right, I hear you left, let's talk about it, right? And now, part of the party, not all, but a good portion of, and the platform they're really selling themselves on, even the ones that don't believe these things. It's so sad. It's like really selling your soul to the devil. No. It's all socialist. It's all giving something away. It's all something free. Nothing's free, by the way. And all these things. I mean, a lady told me the other day, here I am telling her I'm on the Dave Ramsey plan. I've been busting my butt. I'm almost out of debt. And all I have is a student loan. I don't know what I told her. I probably told her that. And she looks at me and she goes, it's not fair that you have to pay student loans. With such a rich country as this, you shouldn't have to pay student loans. And I made no comment. But she also mentioned that whichever one of the candidates say they will forgive student loans, I'll vote for them. First of all, is that the most insane thing you've ever heard in your life? What? They could be like, they will take your firstborn, but if they pay for your college or going college free for all, then I will vote for you, baby. No. But anyway, she talked to me and I made no comment. I just looked at her. Some people, there's not worth talking about. Two, because then where are you going to go? It's just going to be a circle. But the reality is, if you were to pay off people's student loans, what about the people who sacrifice vacations to put their kids through college? What about the people who, like me, are almost done paying off their student loans? Am I going to get a check? Am I going to get a check because, oh, and by the way, am I taking vacations right now? On the Dave Ramsey plan, ain't no vacation, ain't no fun, ain't no using a credit card. I mean, it is, I'm having fun because I love having a goal and like overcoming obstacles, and I'm a little bit, woo-hoo in that way. But But like, I'm foregoing pleasures. I am foregoing going to certain restaurants, going out a lot, taking my kids to Disney. Like, Disney is not happening until we're out of debt and we have an emergency fund. Hello. Anyway, so who pays that? So point is, that doesn't make any sense. Free college makes no sense. We could go down that whole conversation. But the biggest reason I would not send my kids to public school is because of the leftist agenda brainwashing. The kumbaya, happy world. If we would all just love each other, there would be no bombs. There's some people that really don't like you, and there will be bombs, no matter how much you try to love thy neighbor. And you should. The Bible calls for it. But anyway, yeah, my kids are not going to public school. They're not going to be brainwashed. I'm not going to have to undo the damage. So heck no. Then some privates, I don't know, are they worth the money? I mean, private school is like $15K plus. So, you know me, the way I think outside the box, and you should. Even if you're not of a lot of means, you can always creatively come up with solutions. Will I possibly homeschool? Sure, if that's my only option, I guess. That's not necessarily my dream. Not that it would be anything that less than honorable to homeschool your kids. It's simply not something I envision myself in doing. I never desired to be like an elementary school teacher, you know. But if that's what I got to do for a time, you better believe it. It's called seasons. And that's a gift. One income, mommy can stay at home and homeschool. That's beautiful. If you could do that, cool. If you want to do that, beautiful. But also, there's so many things you could think outside of the box. So like, one of the thoughts I had was, I looked up how much a nanny was per week and how much a preschool teacher was per week. Obviously, I guess an elementary school teacher will cost more, but a preschool teacher is only a few $100s more than a nanny per week. And they can nanny your kids and teach them something. But when I looked at it and was doing the math, I asked a friend, hey, would you send your kid to my house if I had a teacher here and that would take care of your kid while you're working? And she said, heck yeah. And that right there would be 2 people going in on 1 person. Add a third, add a fourth. You could be cheaper than daycare and have better quality and control what your kids are learning. Just in thinking outside the box a little bit. I mean, at some point, some of the really crappy education that the public school system has turned into, which started from a great place. I believe it was Eisenhower. Don't kill me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was Eisenhower who started the public school system, and the purpose was that not one kid would be without education. Beautiful. But what began as something nice has turned into something where you are just gathering a bunch of sheep and making them memorize things, and there's no thinking for yourself. There's no freedom of thought. And even in teaching, it's in memorization, which that's a whole nother talk, which goes into some really bad teaching principles that actually have to do with shaping the public into what you want them to be. And mind you, I don't think it's a conspiracy of all to keep the people down, but in the public education system, there were literally some bad apples with good intentions who learned things from Stalin how to implement some of the thought processes they wanted the people to have. Basically, there is some of that is real. It's no surprise. Look at the outcome. Look at the outcome of people in the public school system in America. It is not good. But anyway, so I just want to throw it out there. Depending on where you are with your kids, if you're considering options, I highly recommend not the public school system. I highly recommend to even look at some of these private schools. There's one pretty famous in Miami. I won't even give the area in Miami before somebody calls me for libel laws, that people clamor to get into, yet the homework level at like teeny tiny ages is so high, the stress level. And when I made a comment to a wealthy mom friend of mine that, you know, her goal was for her kids to get in there, and I told her the experience of another mom friend of mine who said, I took my kid out of whatever the school that you're supposed to go to for earlier on, ain't even gonna say grades, to then get into this school. She took her out because it was too much. It was like there was no time for family time with how much it was. And when I mentioned this too, so one mom took the kid out because of it, and the other mom is pushing the kid to get there, right? Because that's the elite school. And when I told my wealthy mom friend, I said, well, this was an experience from a friend of mine. She goes, well, every school has a ton of homework. It is what it is. And I'm like, bro, you're dropping a bunch of cheddar to put your kid there, and you're gonna say it is what it is? Nah, baby, ain't nothing is what it is with me. You know, if something is unacceptable, whatever that is, it is literally just unacceptable. So therefore, if you remove it as an option, like public school is not an option for my children, then therefore you will find other ways. It is really not that difficult. You might be looked upon as weird or judged, and who cares? You hear me talk about that all the time. And you want to hear something? I got amazing feedback, or I saw it with my own eyes actually, at some homeschool kids. Because let me just throw this out there again, I'm not even advocating a homeschool. I'm just saying, think outside the box, find a solution that works for your family. And if you really read into some of the things of public school and how little control you have over what your kids are taught, what your kids are exposed to, you literally have no say. PTA means crap, because all of that stuff comes down from the school board, and it's like the biggest lobbyist. I mean, did you know that Planned Parenthood makes the material for sexual education? Did you know they're also the largest abortion chain in the country and make a ton of money on abortions? Like, I mean, hello. They're just literally, it's a marketing plug. They're feeding their business. They want teen pregnancies so they can have more abortions. Anyway, I mean, woke. Where's the woke people? Where is it? Side note. But just to throw it out there, some of the people's biggest downside, everybody's, you've always heard this about homeschool, but what about social what's it called, adjustment? What about socialization? They will have no social skills. And I'm like, first of all, that's not even a worry I had because of who I am. Hello, look at my mouth, look at these videos. I mean, all the things that I do, all the people that I know, I'm always got some social going on, to the degree that my poor husband's like, all right, enough. But aside from all that, I actually saw it with my very own eyes. I got some feedback from my mom that her kids are like super socially adjusted, because one is 8, one is 10. Because all the homeschool groups that meet are all age ranges, like from like 18 months or like 2 years old up to 18. So like when they go to like a park, they all gotta like interact with each other and all this. That's one thing, among other things. But one of the things that she has observed of their children is no fear when going into a new group and introducing themselves. Going to they'd go to an event, and the kids have no shyness in raising their hand and asking questions and speaking publicly. If there's one thing the children that come out of public school are ill-equipped in doing, is speaking publicly, even reading aloud. I mean, I remember how it was in my schools, which one day I'm sure I'm gonna like give you all the rundown of all these really bad schools. But oh, you want a good one? I'll give you a good one. Here's the shining star of the public school system. My 4th grade teacher, I will not mention her name, libel laws, but I'm sure if you look it up you can find out. She literally said, and I'm in 4th grade, so how old I was, 8 to 9, and she literally said, there's only one real lake in Florida, Lake Okeechobee. That all the other lakes were man-made. Yep. So if you drive up and down the state of Florida, baby, every single piece of water that you see in the state of Florida is man-made. And she was literal, bro. It wasn't like, oh, giving us the example that most of the the state has been subdued, as God called us to subdue the earth, but has been developed. Forest has been turned to developments. They dig the ground, they get a lake, but they build higher land to put houses on marsh, whatever. But she said that. She said that. She said that. And she was dead serious. And she used to use some words, past tense instead of present tense, and in the wrong tense. And I would notice it. And I'm a freaking fourth grader. I came to my dad and he couldn't believe it. But it's like, why the heck didn't you take me out of the school? What's wrong with you people? Anyway, side note. But the feedback from this mother is because of the way homeschooling is and the groups that they're all ages learning to like interact with each other, or also going into many settings where they have to introduce themselves to new people, they're actually way more socially adjusted than any 8 or 10 or other 10-year-olds, And I heard another, was it her or somebody else? I think it was her talking about, what do you think they're really going to learn if you're dumping all 5-year-olds all together? They're just going to learn how to model all these little dumb 5-year-olds doing dumb things versus like, oh, how do the big kids treat the smaller kids? Like, we learn by example. And there's studies that like kids who stay at home with their mom longer are more socially adjusted than kids who go to preschool earlier or daycare earlier. And it's because they learn from us. But anyway, look at the facts. Read articles. Don't talk to me about it. I'm just giving you my thoughts. I don't care what you think about it. I'm telling you what I think, giving you information, and you can make the best decision for your family. You can do whatever you want to do. Oh, and one more piece of feedback. Another friend who works at a church and she does youth stuff with the youth, she literally says that the kids who are most pleasant to be around, who are most socially adjusted of all the other kids, are the ones homeschooled versus the ones in middle school and high school. And she's teaching older kids. So, I mean, these are just two small examples, but some of it is just a little bit of common sense, right? If you're constantly put in a scenario where you got to talk to people of different ages, do you think that's more social adjustment or less? That kind of makes sense than dumping kids with people their age. Like, how far ahead are you going to be if you're only socially adjusted to know that if I pick my booger and you pick your booger and we share boogers, we cool? Like, I mean, come on, bro. Anyway, I'll stop talking now. I just had that thought that I'm not going to send my kids somewhere they're going to be brainwashed. If there is disruption in this education system and we get some interesting new type of schools, definitely will consider it. Certain private schools, I don't know, man. I'm not sold, because just like the one I told you about in Miami, it's the same as public. It might just be more competitive or more information, but it's not like you're being taught to think for yourself. You're being taught how to pass tests and go to college. I mean, unless my kids want to be like a doctor, an engineer, a lawyer, then they might not even go to college, and that's okay too. College right now is like not even as good as a high school diploma. I said it. No, college ain't what it used to be. It doesn't mean what it used to mean. It's been sold off. But that's a whole nother conversation. You could buy a degree now. But yeah, that is all. So I'll stop talking now. And I just realized, especially in this lighting, I got this pimple here. It's super embarrassing. But who cares?